When this kid sits down and writes this play, however much you have to like push the kid to actually write it and go down and write it, and then these professional actors come in and they act the play and they sit there and they watch the play, and then at the end they stand up and they have a bow for people who cheer them on. I mean, how much taller they stand when they come back from that bow. The sense of empowerment, the sense of you have made something worthwhile.
Raising theater is about exploring the whole creative process of the theater. It's not just about the experience of the theater, but the whole creative process, so that we can bring to light how people come together, how they work together, how they create, and how they work. So you can actually see the body of work as it progresses.
Theater gave me a voice, and it showed me how to use that voice.
It's gonna help you to eliminate the shyness that some kids might have.
It challenged me on all different levels, physically, emotionally, and intellectually.
It's helped me gain the confidence in myself to just be comfortable in my own skin.
It plugs in all kinds of skill sets. You get to use all kinds of things that you learn in other situations, how to deal with people.
I mean, if you're gonna jump in front of a bunch of people you don't know and do something absolutely ludicrous, but commit to that, you know, it makes interviews and anything else a lot easier.
Learning a script too, it's like going into a job interview. You know, you prepare something, you have it ready, you've had sort of a mental preparation about it.
Being in theater from a young age, just being able to get up in front of people and not being as self-conscious or as embarrassed as one might be before having any theater training.
There's something to be said for being able to hold your own in a meeting and think on your feet.
When you're on stage, when you're backstage, whatever you're doing in a theater situation, you're making choices all the time, and you're making bold choices.
Being able to improvise, it's made me a better wife, it's made me a better boss, it's made me a better parent.
I'm a hip-hop artist, I'm a poet, so the arts, like the theater, acting, whether I'm in the studio recording a song, I'm on stage performing, it all plays a part.
I felt like I wanted to almost extract the elements that I loved from theater and mix that into my own little potion for my career.
Theater offers so many skills, life skills, that even if a kid wasn't going to go into theater down the road, he or she is going to use those skills in whatever profession they end up going into.
I probably would not be able to work for a Fortune 500 company and, you know, deal with high-level executives had I not been in theater.
You all know what you're getting into, which is that you don't know what you're getting into. You don't know what's going to come out of it. You don't know how the show's going to turn out.
I loved being part of a group, putting together a creative project. I loved the discipline.
It's all organized, it's rehearsed, it's envisioned.
There is no way to do theater alone. You can't, even if you're doing a one-man show, you cannot do theater alone. So it is always about collaboration, it's always about depending on other people, it's always about trusting.
Most of what we do in life successfully is collaborative. We're not sitting in an empty office with a computer, you know, and that's it. And then we achieve. There have to be people on the other side of that computer that you learn to work with and garner expertise from.
So suddenly it's what you're bringing to the project. I'm relying on you.
At the end of 3 or 4 months of rehearsing and working really hard, you would have this thing that you would show everyone, and usually it would be great, and you'd just be so proud of it. And that, I think, was the most important part for me.
Budgets are being cut, and it seems like one of the first things to go is certainly the arts, and then of course part of that is the theater, and it just seems like these programs are struggling to stay alive or exist at all.
How do we spend our precious dollars? Well, we look for how are we going to get the biggest bang for our buck, and small minds say the biggest bang for the buck is a high test score on a math test.
Just learning about math and science and being able to answer multiple choice and having things poured into your head is not going to create the kind of brains and the kind of people that we need who are going to march forward within this next century.
And I think that's the thing we're trying to say with this whole project, that you know, yes, there's math, there's science, there's English, there's history, there's theater. include that in the conversation. It should be part and parcel. There's sports, it's all there.
It's not either sports or theater, either math or theater. It's math and science and engineering and art and theater and English and history, and it's all important because that's what makes a civilization.
To have a lopsided, as it's sort of becoming now, way of education where there is an absence of creativity really leaves a vacuum.
We've got to get the awareness out that theater is important to people and has been important. We know this from testimonials of people we've talked to.
I don't use the term vaguely when I say the art saved my life, because it definitely did. Theater gave me an opportunity.
I don't know that I could ever see my life without theater in it. I think it would be incredibly boring.
My life without theater would probably mean I had never pursued the career that I now have.
I wouldn't know some of the very best friends that I have in the world.
Neil without theater will be a very black and white person. There will be no colors. That's Neil without a theater.
Be a lost young lady. Hollis would be trying to figure it out still, and trying and trying and trying, and hopefully she'd finally find it. I don't know where she would be.
Lost, seeking, confused, alone.
I would be a completely different person if it weren't for that experience. And I was totally that outsider in my junior high school. Growing up, I was always the outsider, and I was always that kid who didn't quite fit into just my upbringing, you know? It totally was. So it's something that's a part of me, and I'm always very grateful, eternally grateful for it.
Loved, confident, assured, strong, intelligent, charismatic, focused, good.